Hey everybody, I want to tell you this really amazing flippin' idea that I heard today. It is the absolute single best idea on earth to help the Mormons. And you just hear me out and you tell me if I'm right or wrong, okay? So my friend, a person I actually knew back in Taiwan many years ago, he writes this. He says, I have often wondered why the LDS Church has not set up orders for monks and nuns within the membership. And then he says, there are throngs of members who ache to follow the church in every way except for marriage. All their efforts and support could be preserved and applied without demanding they find a spouse and raise children. Those tasks could be left to the members who genuinely want to do those things. Everybody wins, especially the church. And then he says, I myself would likely have become a Mormon monk, and I know many, many sisters who would be honored and proud to devote their entire lives to the Lord through the church instead of pursuing an institution for which they have no appetite, skills, or talents. As it is, single members suffer embarrassment, frustration, and confusion as they grow older, instead of turning all their energy directly toward and supporting the church and everything they do. And then he says, think of what could be accomplished with a monastery filled with devoted LDS elders who were not distracted by their wives or children. Think of what a convent of devoted LDS sisters could achieve. These are all wasted opportunities that produce lonely, elderly LDS singles and dysfunctional families. That is about the single best thing that I have heard ever as far as something new that the Mormons could actually do to liven things up, man, and to make their church something that has a place for everybody. Now, I want to credit my friend for coming up with that idea. At least this is the first time I've heard of it. His YouTube handle is @ and then The Perfect Essay 7445. And yeah, he's a friend of mine. Back in the 70s, we were both Mormon missionaries in Taiwan, and we were stationed in, we were in the same apartment in Songshan, Taiwan. And we were there when the toilet fell off the wall, and we were there when one of the newer missionaries was half frightened to death looking up and seeing some creature running across somewhere along the ceiling. It turned out to be, I guess, some kind of rodent or something. But he came out and he said, I just saw some kind of a monster, you know. So we had that experience together, and we were there in the same apartment when the typhoon came through, and the whole neighborhood got flooded and stuff. So we had a lot of common experiences, including when his companion looked at my food and tasted it and said, man, I would not feed that to my dog. That was a crack up. And then from then on, they tried to reform my cooking by having me do like crock pots of potatoes and meat and stuff instead of pasty fried rice with binjo wheat in it. See, I didn't know how to put the eggs in at the right time, so it ended up with cooked rice, and then it was just all pasted over with raw egg, you know. It was terrible. So let's keep on subject, though. What I'm saying is the Mormons, of everything they do, they do this idea of missions and camaraderie really, really well. That rite of passage of going on a Mormon mission, they just got it dialed in really, really well. Even the MTC experience. And in my friend's, as he mentioned in his writing just then, the idea of a monastery, well, that's not hard for the Mormons to do. Just look at the Missionary Training Center. If they just had something like that, wouldn't that be amazing? A person could become like a Mormon monk. What would a Mormon monk even look like, you know? Wouldn't that be cool to walk down the street and say, yeah, I'm a Mormon monk, you know? Maybe they could get a different outfit with like a hood or something. It's a pretty good idea. It's got to be like the best idea that I have heard of in the longest time. And but even when I was in Taiwan, there were some missionaries that when at the end of their mission got close and a plane flew over, it was almost comical because they'd say, go away, because that plane represented the ending of that way of life, the ending of their mission of being single and free and all in some great religious way. That at least according to their way of understanding at that time, everything fit and they were all in and it was a wonderful thing for them. But from that point on, what were their options moving forward? To just flip and become a householder. That's all it was, man. Just get married, have kids. But that's like a one-size-fits-all solution. That's like so one-dimensional. And being as one-dimensional as that is, can you see that it's not going to fit everybody's temperament and everybody's willingness to serve? Not everybody even wants to get married, you know? And so I'd say consider the church more like perhaps a beehive, or maybe like ants. You know, when you see the ants, even just looking at the ants externally, the ants with the different roles, they actually look different. There are the worker ants, there are the soldier ants, the big ones with the big pinchers that are like defending the nest. There are the queen ants. Everyone looks different, and it's because of the different role that it has, right? And you know, man, the church does have the money now. They do have the funds that they could actually set up something like the MTC or a monastery or a nunnery and not... And they can be there for those people that would want something like that. What a shame to waste something like that. But anyhow, that has to be the number one best idea I've heard in the longest time to actually help the Mormon church and move it forward. I mean, as far as like including everybody. You know, that would be so great. And does it make sense to you that feeling of camaraderie that they build so strongly during the missionary years, that then it just ends like that? And then you got to run off and marry a spouse. And, you know, why not have a way that they can keep that going? They just have to have a place for people like that want to be just so devoted to their religion of choice and not have to give it up. Why spend all that time training somebody? And then they just have to step out of it and get lost in the world, working and doing all kinds of stuff. And the church absolutely has the money to support that. They could just build a couple of monasteries around, like big ones. Man, wouldn't that be cool? They already got the music dialed in perfectly. If you've ever seen like music and the spoken word, you know how inspirational that music is. They do music really well. They do beauty really well. Their architecture, their sense of beauty. They could put together these beautiful monastery grounds, you know, with, oh, it would be the best. And I suggest, I had to share what my friend Corey suggested, and that's what I just did in this video. And a lot of happy memories of Taiwan, and the value of camaraderie, man, that and brotherliness and brotherhood, and how silly to not value that and keep it going, man. You know what I mean? There's a way to do it. And you don't have to be such so if you know anybody in Salt Lake, maybe suggest this idea to them. And this might be a chance where they won't have to be such penny pinchers, you know. I don't mean that in a negative way, but I mean, when you think about it, you've got membership that volunteer as custodians, so they don't have to pay custodians because they have the membership cleaning it. Well, in a monastery, everybody's going to have their duties to do, you know. But also have a way that, you know, that monastery itself can bring in some money, and the church certainly can make sure that it doesn't go under, because they definitely have the funds. They got tons of money and hardly a thing in the world to do with it. So why not do something like this and make the church not so one-dimensional, make it so that it can have a place for everybody. And thank you for that idea, brother. Oh, that is so good. Would you please, and I'm not talking about my brother, but to those of you that are watching, please consider becoming a monthly supporter. I really appreciate you. I put the link below the video, and also be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.